Hello and welcome back to the Monkeywood Garage. Today I'm going to run through the steps that I take to prevent rust and corrosion on my motorbike through winter. And the product I'm going to be using is ACF50. Now ACF50 is nothing new. It's been used by bikers for years, and if you've looked into it before, you've probably already heard that it was originally designed for the aircraft industry, which does help give you that little bit of confidence that it is going to be a good product. Essentially, it's a anti-corrosion liquid, so it helps prevent new rust and it helps any existing rust from getting any worse. You can use it on any of the plastics, any of the metals and any of the electrics. So just behind us on the bench here, I've got everything lined up that you need to apply the ACF50. So I'll quickly run through what we've got. We've got the ACF50 itself. You'll need 2 black bags or 2 covers. You'll need an applicator. You do get that one with the product itself, but I have bought this one, which I haven't actually tried yet, so hopefully that works. I'd recommend a pair of gloves, a couple of microfibre cloths, and it is very handy to have some paintbrushes as well. Before sticking your coating of ACF50 on the bike, make sure it doesn't look like this. Now this is footage from yesterday before I give the bike a good clean, because I'd been out the week before and I'd been down a couple of farm tracks and the weather was absolutely minging this last week, so the bike is probably looking as bad as it ever has done in my ownership. But then later this afternoon I took the bike outside the garage. It's absolutely pittling down with rain, but still managed to give it a good clean. But I will say, if you're going to apply the coating of ACF50, make sure you're getting all the little nooks and crannies and even clean underneath the bike, because the last thing you want to be doing is be applying coating to a dirty surface. So make sure it's clean, and also equally important, make sure that it is completely bone dry. Now I did mention earlier you could put the ACF50 pretty much anywhere on the bike, but you've got to avoid getting it on the tyres, getting it on your brakes, and you don't want it anywhere where you make physical contact, so such as your rear foot pegs, your handlebars, all that kind of stuff. So what I always do is put a black bag over the rear wheel, make sure that I'm covering as much as possible of the tyre and the brakes, and then repeat the same process to cover the front wheel. And because I have loads of these in the garage, I'll just put a couple of nitrile gloves over the foot pegs and the levers, because one thing the product is very greasy or very slippy, so you don't want it on surfaces such as this where your foot's just going to slide off. Just to quickly recap, make sure you cover your front and rear tyres. I will need to put another bag just around there. Make sure your brakes are covered, make sure your foot controls are covered, and lastly, avoid getting any on your handlebars. You can apply that with a brush or something like that, more localised. But let's get straight on to applying the coating. Now I have just taken the rear cowl off and the seat just to make sure I can get into all the areas, because like I said earlier, it doesn't actually matter if you get the spray on the electrical components, because it actually does provide a protective layer for those as well. Now let's give this a go. I've partially read the instructions, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's see. Well, it's blowing air but there's no product coming out. Oh, maybe that's like a trigger. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. A light mist coming out. Yeah, that's working a treat. So I'm just going to work my way down and apply thin layer. And making sure I get in all the little gaps. Once you're happy that you've covered enough of the bike with the ACF50, what I tend to do is grab a microfibre cloth and I'll just gently rub in the coating, especially on the plastics, because it gives off a cracking polish finish as well. And for this, what I tend to do is use a cloth that I've used before, so it's already got a light coating of ACF50 on it, and just lightly rub down all of the main panels. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but the shine on that is absolutely fantastic. You can see even on the plastics and the black metal, the finish that comes up, it's fantastic. Once you give the bike a wipe down and you're happy with your coverage of the main areas, it's now safe to take off all the covers that you've applied. Because what we're going to do next is grab one of those little paint brushes and we're going to start and work the product in all the little nuts, screws, bolts and whatever on the bike to keep them protected from rust. Now all I do is dab the paintbrush in some of the product and just work it into a few areas along the way, and then this way you're not getting it on any areas you don't want it, and I'm just covering anything that has potential to rust. So at least by using the brush I can get it into all the little gaps, which is ideal. And just repeat this process as you go around the bike. I would recommend leaving the product at least overnight before you head out on the bike, and that'll just give it a chance to settle in, run into any of the smaller nooks and crannies. And also when you do start the bike up for the first time, it will give off a little bit of steam, and that's essentially just the product burning on any of the hot areas such as the exhaust manifold or whatever it might be, but that's perfectly fine and it is nothing to worry about. And that's the coating application done. The bike's put back together and hopefully the camera picks it up, but you can just see that shine. Absolutely fantastic, and that is even on all the plastic, all the metal parts, everything. So really happy with how that's looking, and also with the knowledge that it's protected, or as well as it can be, for those winter roads. For the price of a bottle of ACF50, I would say it's an essential purchase for any biker out there. I know a lot of people already use it, but if you're new to riding, I hope this video has been helpful. I'd love to hear from any experienced riders who use ACF50 for any do's and don'ts that they might suggest. What I would say is it's probably best to do this in a more ventilated area, so either have the garage door open or do it outside if it's a fine day. But as always, I hope you've enjoyed watching the video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!